причин не може бути присутнім, то міг передивитися ці чудові лекції. Зупиняю транскрипцію. Так, шановні колеги, спочатку прошу, в кого вимкнений мікрофон, будь ласка, вимикайте. Спочатку українською мовою для того, щоб всі зрозуміли і почули. По-перше, це last but not the least, як то кажуть англійською мовою, остання за порядком, але не остання за важливістю наша зустріч з питань соціального активізму молоді, критичного мислення, медійної грамотності. Ми сьогодні маємо чудового спікера. Лекція і спілкування відбуватиметься англійською мовою, але, шановні мої студенти, шановні гості, шановні запрошені учасники нашої лекції, ви можете використовувати українську мову, і ми вам будемо допомагати перекладати для нашого спікера. Для ваших послуг чат нашого зібрання ви можете піднімати руку в будь-який час, коли вам захочеться щось прокоментувати чи поставити запитання. Ми запрошуємо нашого спікера максимально бути інтерактивним, тож ось такий регламент. Після першої години, 20 годин і 30, нас очікує невелика перерва, і після того ми продовжуємо працювати до 14:30 годин, як і було заявлено. Маємо 50 учасників на зустрічі, 51. Тож, шановні мої присутні, шановна аудиторія, чи є на цьому етапі якісь запитання до організаторів, до спікера, які зараз вас турбують, хвилюють і які потрібно вирішити зараз? Так, добре. Тоді, поки я буду говорити коротку вступну промову для нашого спікера на англійській мові, і для всіх прошу в чат написати, які спеціальності тут присутні. Якщо хтось вже написав вашу спеціальність, то прошу вже тоді не писати. Добре? Щоб ми розуміли, хто в нас сьогодні тут на зібранні. Добре. Отже, hello, dear all. Hello, Slava, our honored speaker.
Hello.
Welcome to Ukraine. Welcome to Dnipro. Thank you very much for joining us today. Today we have the last but not the least lecture in a set of lectures for youth and youth workers of our region and Ukraine, and these lectures are on critical thinking, social activism, media literacy, and various different questions important for self-development of our Ukrainian youth today, especially in times of different challenges. When we started this project, we thought about COVID as a great challenge for us. But today we have another great challenge, and this is war that is taking place in Ukraine now. So let me announce you the title of project under which these lectures are taking place. Okay. The project is Anti-COVID Youth-Led Media Hub, motivating youth to vaccination, media literacy, critical thinking, and social activism to turn COVID challenges into opportunities. And this project is coordinated and implemented by the non-governmental organization Development and Initiative and our university, Dnipro University of Technology. So this is Slava's turn to speak, and I would like to ask him to introduce himself briefly, just in a couple of words. Slava, could you please describe yourself and your activities?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, thanks everyone who hosted me, and hello to Ukraine. I've been missing Ukraine. I've been for a year there, a bit more, and also the Dnipro, of course. And I wish peace and prosperity to Ukraine as soon as possible. After the war, I think we will have another offline meetings with with you guys. So the project, not the project, the presentation is about fake news and disinformation, aims and consequences, and case studies. So what we will have today, I'm going to speak about myself to give a bit credibility who I am. And first of all, I would like to be sorry because my son is making some noise, but now he's going to leave the house, and just a couple of minutes, please tolerate this. Then I will speak about my experience in the fake news project, mainly connected to the Erasmus Plus. Also, we'll speak about fake news, what it is. We'll speak about the fake news history, which is coming from the ancient times. We will speak about the types of the fake news, aims, case studies. I will bring a couple of them. And I will speak how to combat these fake news tools. There are a lot of online tools, and also we'll speak how we can handle and address the fake news in the offline field and what kind of skills we need for this. That's it. Before I go to the presentation, as already have been said, I would like to be as interactive as possible. So I think it is okay if anyone asks questions during my presentation, just interrupt me. And I would like to make everything clear as possible. So that's why I'm open for any questions anytime. Please
Slava, sorry for interrupting. Let me make a remark. I want you to know what students are present here in this meeting. So we have international relations students, public communications and regional studies, also accounting and taxation and audit program. Thank you for your hearts. Also, I know that we have students studying finance and insurance. That's all.
Nice. That's interesting because it's very important to know who is the auditor you are speaking with, who is the target group. Yes, and at the end, I think it would be nice if we have at least 10 minutes of discussing to make it more interactive. And this will be the plan for the next 1 hour and a half. I think it sounds nice, right? So now shortly about me, who I am. I'm a youth worker. I'm from Georgia. I put a couple of one picture from my lovely country and the mountains we have here. I hope you all will visit Georgia and see all the beauty we have here. I'm an educator, project manager, doing projects on local level, international level, and national level. So I'm also a youth worker with a background of doing youth work for around 15 years. That's it about me. Now, what is the connection, my connection to the fake news? I started investigating this topic like 4 years ago, and then I decided to do an international project because the fake news affect young people very hardly back to that time. And after it was the COVID, and the COVID also showed that the young people are very vulnerable towards the fake news, and they are usually become a victim of the fake news and change their behavior. Then through the Erasmus Plus project program, I have been the author of the 4 projects that already have been implemented, and 3 of them have been implemented this year, this summer, June, July, and August. And I would like to say that in all of these projects, we have Ukrainian partners. So Ukrainians were part of all these great projects. So the outcome of these projects was we had more than 100 youngster beneficiaries, both on an international level and a local level through our follow-up activities. We invented offline experiment, which is a great tool to raise, this is social experiment, social education, to raise awareness about the fake news and motivate people to check any fake news, any news that they receive during the day. We developed 4 booklets, which is very useful resource for the self-education and also for using in any kind of education, mainly in the youth work. We have videos about the fake news and about experiment, and we have done a lot of follow-up activities, including activities in the Ukraine. Oh, that's about me, my connection to the fake news, and my experience. So, what is fake news? Like, there are a lot of definitions. As I was trying to look in the internet at first, to read some books, and then the easiest thing I discovered that explains very well what the fake news is. It is inaccurate, sometimes sensationalistic report that is created to gain attention, mislead, deceive or damage the reputation of someone or a group or a country or whatever it is. So this is a very simple explanation what the fake news is. Behind this definition, there are a lot of types of fake news that we have to distinguish because there are usually different types, and we cannot say that all fake news are similar because some of them is made intentionally, some of them unintentionally, some of them has different aim, etc., etc. So now, together we are going to explore one by one what kind of fake news there are and how they work. So I have here 7 types of the fake news. First one is a hoax. I hope you have heard about the hoax, right? This is falsehood deliberately fabricated to masquerade as truth. Usually it is a very interesting story, the science fictional, like some connections having stories. And it is for the people to read and to pay attention to some, I don't know, maybe newspaper, website, or news agency. Misinformation. This is a false information disseminated without harmful intent. Next one is a disinformation, which is usually the same as fake news that people are using behind this word, created and shared by the people with a harmful intent. So these are the 2 differences between mis and disinformation. Only one letter is different. Clickbaits. I hope everyone has met clickbaits while surfing in the internet. There are a lot of websites, and also in the websites there are a lot of this kind of advertisement that ask you to click, and then when you click, you are transferred to another website just to collect some views or visitors and to make some advertisement for certain website. Then we have propaganda. We all know what is propaganda. This is political part, and we'll speak about them as well. Sloppy journalism, which is non-professional journalism, and based on this non-professionalism, we have the fake news at the end as a product. Biased or slanted news. These are the news that are usually try to prioritize some victims, or you try to show your bias toward the story or the person or the groups or the political party, etc. So news or stories that confirm their own beliefs, and the fake news can prey on this. Social media news feeds tend to display news and articles that they think we will like based on our personalized searches. This is the official explanation of what is it. So now let's one by one explore them, okay? If you have any questions regarding this set of the fake news types, please, you can ask anytime you wish, because I would like to hear from you as well. So if no one is speaking, then I will go. So hoax. So here we have the first very popular hoax. This called in 1835 in one of the New York's newspapers. There was a story, a hoax story, that there were 6 articles like in this newspaper that's speaking that some but a scientist has discovered life on the moon. And then they said there are a lot of people different than we, they are flying, there are animals, etc., etc. And this hoax has been spread in that period in the USA. The name of this publication was The Sun, and suddenly The Sun became very popular. Although then it has been debunked, and people understand that this is a source, but it was very interesting story, and people were reading this, and it was very popular. But the thing is that at the end, the Sun, this publication, this newspaper, became very popular. So someone did this intentionally. They didn't have anyone, right? Nothing happened. The consequence wasn't bad. The intention wasn't bad, but it was a hoax. So people enjoyed reading this story. Another thing is you see this called Footman or whoever it is. There is a story that also we have some videos in the website, YouTube, for example, where you can write and find out that somewhere in the Tibetan mountains they found not a man, not a human, also not a monkey, but some footman. So this also a hoax, but people like this started to share, and the article and the publication and the video has a lot of views based on this hoax. There are also many types of hoax you can meet in the websites, different websites, different newspapers. But these are the famous ones that show that nowadays and almost 200 years ago how the hoax were working. Misinformation. Misinformation is where the false information is shared by accident without an intent to cause harm. We have here a classical example. These are maybe sharing inaccurate photos, quotes, or dates online because believe them to be true. So, for example, during the COVID, you remember there was a lot of misinformation spreading around, especially in the beginning of this pandemic period. And one of them was that the garlic, you remember garlic, and also we had this about vodka. If you drink vodka, then COVID, you will become COVID sustainable, etc., etc. This is a classical example that people started to believe in this hoax, in this misinformation, and they spread it not because they want to make harm, but because they believe it. This is information, one type of the fake information that usually we meet. Next is disinformation. So disinformation is a serious one, and it has been invented and deliberately invented and spread with a certain aim. I brought here one of the very popular one. For example, if someone has watched the video, I can also share the video if it is possible.
Slava, sorry for interrupting again, but we have one raised hand.
Okay.
So it means that the participant has a question. Ivan, please, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. I have a question. How often have you experienced the influence of fake news in your country?
We influence fake news, I guess, on daily basis.
Yes.
Daily basis. These are mainly the propaganda from our northern neighbor, the Russia, and this usually it is fabricated in a way that you don't understand that who is the author of this fake news. But then when we have a lot of organizations in many countries which are starting after the spreading of the fake news, starting to investigate and debunk the fake news. And then you find the ways, the need that going somewhere to the north, and some agencies or articles that are supported or financed by the Russian related, this kind of, usually these are Russian or the third countries who want to destabilize the region. These are, I'm saying, the political one. A lot of this kind of disinformations we have in Georgia. So did I answer? These are the main source of disinformation coming, because disinformation are usually the political one that has a certain aim, and I will gonna speak about one of the cases, and then we can analyze and make parallels with our countries. And I think then it will be easier to understand how it works and why usually the fake news are being spread.
Thanks.
Thank you for the question. So what was, I cannot find the, okay. So what was the intention behind the fake news? For example, here the Trump had a meeting with his party, Republicans, and he was speaking about the immigrants and the immigration, and he was saying that you know what happens in Europe. This was a period of the Syrian war and fleeing the refugees to Europe, etc. You know what happened in Sweden last night in Sweden, etc., etc. Who can believe that this could happen in Sweden? And then suddenly people, and it's official speech, like the TV, everyone is watching this. Suddenly people started to search, like, what happened in Sweden? And actually nothing happened. But then it comes out that he was speaking about the migrants. He was going to win the hearts of the voters that I'm gonna make stricter policy against migrants that are coming to USA. And for those who were in the opposition, he was bringing this really fake information that you know what's happening in Europe, and if we don't take some measures, tomorrow we will have the similar cases in USA. So this was the pure fake, and then Embassy of Sweden in USA, that's on the Twitter, they said, okay, nothing is going on in Sweden, and we are going to inform them that we have a good policy of immigration and everything is okay and fine. So this is a classical example how politicians are using fake news for their political purposes. So also, of course, disinformation is something that Russia is spreading all over the world. I'm going to say this now. We are exploring the types of the fake news, and I'm not going dive deep into the cases, but just explaining what is the difference between different type of the fake news. Okay. So another type of the fake news is clickbait. Clickbaits are something that motivates us to click, and then through clicking we are transferred to another website, and usually they have this kind of headlines. Just tell me if you have ever met these kind of websites or the advertisements in the different websites. You will never believe, or 10 things you need to know about something. These were tricked. This is what happens if you, and then continuation. The 10 best something. And then you are interested, you find like a 1 minute to read, you think, okay, let's see what's behind, and then you click. Either these are the phishings, or you will be hacked or something, or you are just a visitor, one of the thousands or millions of visitors of this website, just for monetization for their advertisement. So usually there are no interesting contents behind this kind of the websites and headings, but just they are aiming to have you on their website for a certain period of time. And the propaganda. When I say word propaganda, this comes to my mind. The Solovyov, the Russian, this propagandist, famous one. So this is a classical case of propaganda that has ideological purpose behind any fake news they are spreading. Also, we have sloppy journalism. As I said, these are usually for the non-professional journalists are making some mistakes, and then as a consequence, usually the good media outlets, they are usually say sorry, apologize for their misinformation or disinformation, whatever it is, mistake, and this kind of editorial notes are coming on this news usually. Okay, and the bias, I spoke about this. This has a favoritism toward a certain party, corporate or political party, etc., etc. So this can be journalistic articles about starting from Coca-Cola, for example. If you are paid by Coca-Cola, you would like to say, this usually happened when someone tried to, okay, we had a case, for example, in Georgia. You know, these Kinders, the Nestle, these chocolates. So there was a rumors or the news spread that in last year, so we had in Georgia these candies came from Turkey, and then it was poisoned with some other chemicals, and the people started to spread this news in the social media, and of course the sales went down. And then this Nestle, for example, could give money to any news agency, and then they write some counter article, like saying, okay, it was one time, sorry, but now it's okay, we did our best to take this portion of the sales out of the selling, etc., etc. So now this is a biased journalist. Usually it works like this. So any questions regarding the types of the fake news I just presented? Because I can't see the raised hands, I just see my slides. That's why.
No, for now there is no question.
Okay. So now the aim of the fake news. I would like to say that no, fake news is not something that, you know, when you wake up and then you don't know what to do, and then you started to invent the fake news, spreading this kind of fabricating, dedicating time, I don't know, inventing the story, making purpose, and then thinking about consequences. Each fake news that we usually meet, behind each of these fake news, there are a lot of people or the interest or groups are standing, professionals who are thinking about what to write, what to show, what to speak, how to do it, where to spread, who are the target also. This is like a project, just to understand. This is a real project behind the any fake news that has its own target group, aim, impact, and different organizations, or how we call, I don't know, this, are spreading it every day, and aim is just one: to change the behavior or attitude of the target group. What does this mean? So if they want to I don't know, to change the behavior of the people towards, I don't know, for example, if you want to make conflict, you have to say that this group is so you have to invent some information, some fake news that you want one group to hate another one. So you need to create some conflict, some fakes, and then spread it in this group. And then this group is starting changing their attitude and behavior toward another group. And this is how it works. Or for example, we can go beyond the politics and say, I had cases I read in Canada, for example, the water company spread the fake news that the tap water is polluted. So in one small city, small town, and then this news has been spread in this town, and people stopped drinking the tap water. And then what happened? They went to the shop and bought a lot of bottled water, which is the water of this company. So the aim of this fake news was to change the behavior of consumers to not drink tap water, because everyone is drinking water, right? We cannot exist without water, and raise the sales and the profit of this company. So each fake news has its own aim, concrete, very concrete, which aims to change the behavior and attitude of the people. Okay, if you just make the comparison, what fake news is we had, for example, in your countries yesterday, today, and then you have to see what is the consequence, what is the change in the population, what has been changed, and then you can understand that these people were aiming certainly these changes to see in the people. So let's see what kind of cases we had from the history. Okay, so just I would like to bring the ancient times, and I was looking for the stories and I found a lot of them, but I tried to bring the case that will be familiar to many of you, because you know, I think everyone has heard the Cleopatra and Antony, the story of the love story, and there is a famous movies about this, Hollywood movies. So what happened? After the death of the Julius Caesar, there was a civil war between Octavian and Antony, right? So Antony went to Egypt with Cleopatra. He had his separate story, but the Octavian, who was his rival, he was in Rome. So what he did, he fabricated the documents, the stories about Antony, and started to spread in the Rome that Antony is a bad guy. Now he is going to, and of course emotions. Now he's going to, I don't know, to Easternize the Rome, our traditions, because he lost his head and the heart. He's living with Cleopatra, this beautiful woman, a woman from Egypt, and now the non-Romans, their kids, etc., will become the emperors in the Rome, and etc. Started to spread bad thing about Antony, and people started to believe. This is how he found, he not only found, but not his supporters, but also he spread the news, and this is how he neutralized those people who were supporters of the Antony. So at that period, it wasn't very easy. You know, there was this mass media, etc., and it wasn't very easy to counter the fake news. And this way, Octavian got a lot of support from the population. And Antony, at the end, he lost the war. And you know how story ends? They just suicided because they poisoned themselves or something. So this was one of the first cases of the fake news that at that period of time, people were using at their interest. There were also another stories, for example, in the 1970s, not 1970, in the 1070s, there was a Jacobite wars in the Great Britain. At that time, it was England. And the Jacobites spread the news that the King Charles II is ill, and the supporters started to leave him. So, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes not, but this time also works, and the people start to believe in this fake. But the term fake news has been only invented and documented in the 1890s in the newspapers, etc. And it was mainly in the US. So, and the author of this was Merriam-Webster firstly used this term fake news, and then from this it started to use as a term fake news counterpart of the news. Any questions regarding these interesting stories? No. I think to make it more interactive, I have to ask questions as well. Okay,
we
next.
have Slava. We have raised hand.
Great.
Kirilla, you're welcome. Great. Please, great. Thank you.
Yes,
you,
I
Kirill.
have a question. Do you think being a propagandist is difficult, and do you think that a person should be a master in this matter?
I think if you want to be a good propagandist, you should be a master, because and everything. Well, I want to answer the philosophically, and then I will go deeper how propagandists are handling and what is the difficulties in their life as I have observed. So usually you have to be good in everything you are doing in your profession, and then nothing is hard for you. Either you are accountant, an economist, dentist, or whatever you are, a propagandist or journalist, and then everything is easy if you are professional, okay? But the hard thing in propagandist is that you are usually telling the false, and then many times these false are being debunked, and then what you gonna do if everyone see that you are lying? This is the hard thing, and that's why you have to know how to spread the propaganda, you know? Because if you back, and as I said, when you say propaganda, it comes to my mind this guy. He said a lot of propagandists, these speeches, etc. You can find many of them in the YouTube. And then when he's predicting something or spreading the propaganda, and suddenly everyone say that it is false, because not everything is going according to what he's saying, you know. So this is hard thing, that you have to be a good propagandist to know the limit of the force. And then once you are being hacked or debunked, exposed, then I think less followers you will have, and the efficiency of your fakes will be less. That is what I think that propagandists should take into account when they are going into propaganda. So
thank you, Slava. I will help to moderate
Thank
this
you.
process of asking questions. The next student, accounting and audit program, Alina. Please, you're welcome. Your question.
Alina.
Is it possible to fight fakes and propaganda? If so, how?
Thank you for this question. We have this at the end of the presentation. So I will speak about the online tools, and I will speak about critical thinking skills, how we're gonna fight the fake news. Okay, so I will now answer shortly, and then I will go deeper into the details of these tools, how we are gonna fight and combat the fake news. So there are a lot of checking and verifying websites where you can check pictures, videos, articles, And then you see if it is true or fake, because usually fake news is fabricated in a way they are copying the pictures from different events and then post. They are copying different events, etc., videos, and then it is fabricated news. So also we need a critical thinking to analyze, to filter information through the questions and the critical thinking ways, and then you understand what stands behind the information you are receiving. Thank you, Alina. I will answer your question later more detailed.
Thanks for the answer.
Thank you for the question.
Okay. And the next raised hand is from Victoria. Victoria, Alina, please put your hand down. Don't forget to control your raised hands. Thank you. Victoria, your question.
Victoria.
Why do you think the people in the world understand that Solovyev is talking propaganda, but the Russians do not understand this?
You know, it's not about understanding, but I think the ways of the propaganda they are doing is changing and evaluating all the time. So once they see that, okay, this propaganda is not working, let's invent something new. And then it works, you know. We cannot say that none of them is working. It works, and they are measuring the level of the success they have within the spreading news towards the target group. In Georgia, we had a lot of cases that till now people think that, for example, I don't know, we cannot survive without Russia, or Russia is our main export partner, etc., while this is just a hoax. But they are spreading this, or I don't know. So they are measuring it, and then they see if it is not working, they are changing. This is how it works. So why and also why Russia is not successful, because well, when someone is asking me why Russia, so I bring example of what is produced in Russia. I mean, what we know from Russia is produced, except weapons, okay? And the weapons is not the best one that they have. So nothing. If any one of you have been in Russia, I have been in Russia, and I saw that this country is all hoax and fabricated, because everything they have is invented somewhere and then they copy it. So even the fake news, how to spread it, how to fabricate the news, is something that has been invented somewhere else and then they copy it. Like cars, for example, you know, the Germany or Japan has the best cars, but they have their own cars. And you cannot compare these cars to each other, right? So this is the similar, everything they have similarly works toward the fake news, similarly works toward the products they do, any products or services they produce. That's why, because it is a very corrupted country, because the education level is very low, and it is ruled by the oligarchs, and that's it. So I mean, I brought also general answer toward this question. Thank you, Victoria.
Okay, let me read a question from Bogdan. The question is following: do you think it's necessary to know the science of psychology, to know psychological tools, in order to be a good propagandist?
Sure. This is the first thing. I think the organizations, let's say organizations, stand behind the fake news. They have at least one psychologist who are analyzing the fake news before they launch it, you know, because psychology is about the people, how they think, how they behave, and spread news is like a virus that comes to your brain, information, and then it is very hard, if you believe it, to take it out, you know. So the psychologist and the critical thinking is the antivirus to this virus. So psychologists are very important part, detail of these fake news organizations. I would answer this way.
Thank you. The next our participant is Maria. Masha.
Okay, hello.
Masha.
My question is, as I know that there are different types of propaganda, which ones are the most effective? How do you think?
Well, it depends on the cases. It depends on the cases of, well, It depends on the case. I think the propaganda is political one. Propaganda can be for the target group of the propaganda can be internal, like within the country, and usually it is different than the outside of the country. So effectively, it works when it connected to the some emotions, you know. When you're saying that this refers to some emotional part of the country, of the population, like nationalism, etc., etc. So this is more effective one when you use this kind of emotional propagandist cases. So it depends. It varies on the certain cases, and I don't know. I don't have this kind of one answer towards. Thank you for this cool question.
Yes, sure. Cool question, Masha. It's for you. Cool question. Okay,
Yeah.
Ivan, your turn.
Ivan.
Okay, thanks. Have you ever analyzed fake news?
Yes. Yes, all the time. Well, like 10 years ago, I didn't have any clue about the fake news, how it was spread. But now, every day, not every day, but very often in social media, I meet a lot of fake news. And after all this, and I'm the one who studied the fake news by himself. And now it's easy for me to understand what stands behind the fake news when I read this, you know. For example, the Georgia is among these crossroads of the conflicting countries. Azerbaijan, Armenia, Turkey, Iran, Russia, NATO, etc., USA, Europe, all this stuff. And then when you see something against to one of these parties, you can understand who is spreading this fake news. This is counterpart. You know, when there are some fake news against Armenians in Georgia, then these are most probably paid by the Azerbaijani government. Or if it is against Azerbaijanis, most probably it is paid by the Russian or Armenians, you know. So then it is easy to understand what stands behind. I'm speaking about political one. If it is not political, then it is, I don't know, the economical one, then it's also very easy to understand what stands behind. You know, this is profit and the companies are competing with each other, etc., etc. Did I answer your question, Luana?
Yes, you did, Slava, and
Exactly.
a question from our chat. The question, yes, came from Victoria, and she is interested in what is the strangest propaganda you have ever heard.
Strangest propaganda. Well, very hard to answer. Strangest propaganda. If something came to my mind about the propagandas, I will answer at the end of the presentation. Okay. Strangest propaganda. Very nice question. This is the same Victoria that asked the question previously, or different one?
Okay. Another question from chat. What non-obvious examples of propaganda do we encounter every day, not realizing that this is propaganda? What non-obvious examples of propaganda do we encounter every day? Do we meet every day? Not realizing that this is propaganda.
Like hidden one.
Yes, like hidden one. True.
Hidden propagandas. Well, I'm gonna say something that maybe not popular in many countries, if not like countries that don't have long history. But while observing the fake news, I found out that almost whole books of history that we are taught in the school in any countries, and I was interested in different countries. I was reading and googling, etc. Almost all of them are, at least majority of the information we are taught in the school are the fake news, because the sources we have are also either not existing or exaggerated or copied by someone, and we don't have the source to check. So I think the hidden fake news that we are victim and consuming every day it's a history of our countries and nations, but usually it's not accepted by anyone, but this is like my assumption, okay? That it could be China, it could be, I don't know, Italy, France, Ukraine, Georgia, Russia, whatever it is, but the majority of the history we are now experiencing, we are sure about, is fake, all countries. And I think this is something that later is used by the different propagandists to fake the information and to change the behavior and make their target group to act as they want to be. This is the thing that I see in my life during my experience of working with the fake news. Any questions, or I go for
Yes,
another
yes,
system?
Slava. Yes, we have another
Great.
question from Natalia. Natalia is our teacher of English in our university. Natalia,
Great,
please, yes, your question. Thank you.
Hello, I'm first of all really thankful for this event, for both our colleagues and our honorable guest. And as your colleague, I'm not only a teacher of English, I also teach a similar course on our department devoted to media literacy, and it is an optional course.
Okay.
I wanted to ask this question later, but in connection with the last answer that you gave, I wanted to ask you, do you believe, in your personal opinion, the courses like this should be not optional but compulsory for students? And if yes, at which level? University level, secondary school level, or maybe not compulsory at all? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Natalia. So I have my own opinion about the word compulsory. You know, my ideology, my philosophy, my personal one is against of anything that is compulsory. I have this kind of different opinion. So for my ideal country in the world is that no one is pushed to do anything that someone else wants. It could be state, it could be neighbor, parents after 18th, or whatever it is. So, or friends. So I think this subject is very important, and this subject should be known for everyone. Like everyone should have access to this kind of subject, but compulsory is not. But I agree with the logic that everyone should learn what is the fake news and the critical thinking. This is the key of the success and the key of the resolution of a lot of problems and a lot of conflicts on national level, on individual level as well, because I wanted to speak about the offline fake news that it's not about political, but for example, we meet in the classroom, in the school, or in university, when on individual level, girls and boys are having a lot of problems within each other by spreading the fake news. And and for example, we have to understand what stands behind. In the school, in my school, in 90s, I was studying in Georgia in a very destroyed educational system. We didn't thought this kind of things, fake news. There were no internet at that time, and the fake news was spread offline. The rumors were spread, and like for example, someone was spreading the news that the girl in the parallel class did something, and this beautiful girl, she has been hated, and spreading this news, and then this also, and then we all believe because someone said about some details, emotional story, etc. And no one taught us about the critical thinking. I think this is very important, and this kind of subject should be taught everywhere. But I'm against the word compulsory. That's the only thing I want. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I do support your idea about the free will and the free choice. Thank you so much.
Great that we agreed. Any questions so far, or I have to move forward?
It seems that we have no questions for now. Yes, and before, let me say a couple of words before starting the next piece of our lecture. Let me say some words in Ukrainian. Шановні учасники, я вас закликаю використовувати цю можливість зустрічі зі Славою, not native speaker, для того, щоб, можливо, зробити крок поза межі своєї комфортної зони. Хто, можливо, має якісь бар'єри з англійською мовою, чи соромиться, чи вважає, що він не так звучать його слова, чи якісь є помилки, то давайте не будемо про це взагалі думати. Оце є класний час для того, щоб себе якось штовхнути вперед на зустрічі англійській мові і спікеру. Тому є чат, є українська мова. Якщо вже зовсім соромитеся, будь ласка, пишіть, кажіть українською мовою, ми підтримуємо вас, тому що ці лекції для розвитку не тільки критичного мислення, не тільки медіаграмотності, але й ваших soft skills, ваших персональних якихось амбіцій, для цього реалізація. Slava, I said a couple of words about motivation. Yes, okay, about motivation to be active. Yes, and because some students may have barriers to express themselves in English, you know. That is why we think that this is a great opportunity of talking to also not native speaker and make a step out of the comfort zone.
So if they have problems with English, then they can ask in Ukrainian. I can understand Ukrainian. If some words I cannot catch up, then I can just ask, what does this word mean? And that's it. So it's not a problem for me to understand Ukrainian. Thank you. And be active. So questions, the bad question is the question that is not asked. Just my lovely expression about the questions. Usually when I run the trainings, I always motivate and push people to ask as many questions as possible. It also helps me to go in a direction that the people are listening to me want to listen, okay? So now about the case study. It's very interesting case study that I use in my trainings. It calls Pizzagate. Has anyone heard about this Pizzagate story? No? No one? Good. This minute will be interesting. So now what happened? As I said, each fake news has its own aim, okay? And there are some people who are inventing these fake news. So, and usually when there are some rival conflicts or some competition, these fake news are more severe. Here we have 2016, the elections, presidential elections in USA. Hillary Clinton and Trump, okay? So what happened? That in March 2016, it has been reported via WikiLeaks that the personal email account of John Podesta, who was a campaign chair of the Clintons, election campaign, and there was a guy who is managing the campaign. So his emails have been hacked and spread in November, just before the elections. That there is, and what was in this information? That high-ranking positions like political party officials of the Democrat, there are two main parties, Democrats and the Republicans in USA. So Democratic Party officials are having some sex child activities, trafficking, in one of the pizzeria in Washington. Can you imagine? And the name of the pizzeria is Comet Ping Pong. So in November, imagine the spreading the fake news, elections, and the whole Twitter and the social media is spread by the news with the hashtag Pizzagate. And with the WikiLeaks, which is verify the source that they are not saying any lies, this is truth. And and the story is going like a bomb. Everyone is reading this, how it comes, and the emotions, child trafficking, etc., pedophilia. The words are all over these newspapers. So, and the story started at the end of the October, 13th of October, and you see there was a tweet of one Jewish New York lawyer falsely claimed that the US police department has, so some Jewish lawyer has tweeted and posted in the social media about this story before it has been exploded, you know? You see how it works, where it comes, like Jewish law. Can someone say why it was so emphasized with the Jewish law, this word Jewish? Can someone, I would like to now to analyze this very interesting case. If there's raised hands.
No raised hands.
Okay, then I will answer to my question. Because the US, I don't know, 9 out of 10 lawyers are Jewish and they have good reputation. So if lawyer says, then it is okay, true. You know, they have this credibility of being the good guys. So that's why. So the story started from this guy, like you know, started to spread, and then someone catch it, and then this WikiLeaks information spread, and that some pedophilia happened in this pizzeria. That pizzeria is for them. Also, the ground for satanistic ritual abuses. You know, satanistic. Also, another emotional part of the religion people and the US. If someone is familiar with the US, it's very religion. A lot of, not majority, maybe 40 or 50, half of the population are very religion, mainly in the central part of the US. Satanistic ritual abuse. So the story exploded, and you know, at the end, Hillary Clinton couldn't become the president. So what we had here, in this case, we had WikiLeaks. In this case, we had the Jewish lawyer, like verified sources, and we had a lot of I don't know, maybe all majority of the all political parties has its own media outlets that are spreading the news, what they want, the biased news. So they spread this news, and the whole USA and the world may know about this story. Throughout these 2 months, parallel to the election campaigns, everyone believed that this happens. And this Hillary Clinton and other Democratic Party high-ranking officials are having the satanistic rituals in this pizzeria. So, but what happens that investigation started, and at the end, the police chief of the Washington said nothing has been happened there. It's completely fake. But still, people didn't want to believe, you know. So this Pizzagate story became very famous. But the thing is, I would like to say that to understand the aim of this fake news was, of course, to win the election by destroying the reputation of the rival, Clinton. Okay, who could stand behind this fake news? Of course, it could be Republican Party, right? The opposite. And they spread this fake news, and Hillary Clinton lost the elections. She couldn't become the president, and Trump won the elections. So this is the restaurant, actually, this small pizzeria. Can you imagine that this small pizzeria, this high official, and some people went inside and had the satanistic rituals with the pedophilia cases, etc. So, but there was another interesting thing. Each fake news has consequences, you know. Some consequences are intended. I mean, something that is written in the project, let's say, but some of them is unintended. So you didn't wrote in the project, but it's when something wrong and something happened. So what happened, you know, US also notoriously so famous of shootings, you know, school shootings, etc. You can wear gun everywhere you can want, etc., etc. So as a result, you know, on the 4th December, right after the election, some Edgar Madison, 28 years old boy, arrived at this pizzeria, this small green, I don't know, pizzeria, and started to shoot from the rifle. And fortunately, no one has been injured. But what he did, he was like a very strong nationalist guy who really believed in this story, and he decided to become a superhero and go into this and destroy all this place of sin, you know, because satanistic ritual, etc. So this young guy was a victim and become an unintended consequence of this story. So sometimes fake news has unintended story that no one planned, and this is also something that we have to understand. And this is also another level of the critical thinking that you need to have to understand how it works, because no one wanted that someone went to the pizzeria and shoot in the pizzeria and kill someone. No. Besides these shootings, there was a lot of threats reported towards the owners of this restaurant. So you imagine you are the owner of this small restaurant, and one day you wake up and then you see someone is mailing you, or neighbors or whoever coming to the restaurant and threatening you to close the restaurant, or and you don't know what's going on, and then suddenly you read in the newspaper that your restaurant or this small pizzeria is reporting that the whole USA or the whole world is talking about you. So this also was unintended consequences, and this is a good case to understand that not everything that is happening as a result of the fake news can be intended and planned. That we are all humans, and also those people who are professionals in fabricating the news are also having mistakes, and there are a lot of consequences that are not planned initially. Any questions regarding this? And this guy has been sentenced for 4 years in prison. So it happens in 2016, and in 2020, yeah, now free. So now I want to analyze, and then maybe I will, before jumping into the tools, how to combat, I would like to speak about the main aspects of what should be in the perfect fake news. The perfect fake news should have emotions, you know. It should have emotional parts, concrete emotional part that you have to observe and find out what is the most emotional thing that this target group has. In the case of Pizzagate, you see it is a religion one, satanistic, etc. It is pedophilia, so kids. So it means that these people are family loving people, etc., etc. So these people are very religious. So you need to say that you know, the Hillary Clinton is not your candidate. So you see that pedophilia, they don't respect the kids' rights, they don't respect the religion, etc., etc. So there should be emotions. There should be a lot of details. If information has specific details, numbers, the names, concrete things, like in the street, you have, you know, the restaurant with this name, and there was a address of this restaurant, city, you know, everything. So when someone is not familiar to the story and is reading this kind of information with a lot of details, it's most probably they believe in it. Another another thing that should perfect news has is easy words to remember. You know, Pizzagate. You know, pizza is a word that everyone knows everywhere. If it will be, I don't know, Khajapuri in Georgia, I doubt it will be very hard to remember. But the pizza, for this kind of keywords that remembers, and hashtag, yeah, someone invented this hashtag, Pizzagate. This also very important to make your fake news perfect. And the story itself should have some drama. It shouldn't be only some numbers or some, I don't know, the story without any emotions or scandals, etc. There should be seen the relations between the parties, or I don't know. For example, if it is, let's not touch this case, but another case. If you listen the fake news in your village, town, district, school, university, in the friendship, always there should be relations between some people. So these are the fourth element that I found the most important thing in the perfect fake news. Okay, now I finished this part. What I'm going to speak now is answering the question of that girl, I forgot the name, Alina, I guess, or how we gonna combat the fake news. If there are any raised hands, please let me know, and I will try to answer them and then jump to these tools. Any questions?
No questions.
Okay.
Maybe they will appear a little bit later.
Okay. So tools. fortunately, as I started to compare in the beginning of my speech, the fake news as a virus, each virus has its antivirus, you know. So when someone is inventing fake news, another party is inventing something that can be combated, addressed, or solved, destroyed, exposed. It's the tools. For example, we have Google Image. Has anyone used Google Image to check the pictures, photos, images? I didn't know this like 5-6 years ago, that you can just upload in Google search, you write Google image, etc. You can upload the image or post the URL of the image, and then you can search if this image is in another articles. Usually some non-very professional fake newsers, they are like Googling the word, keyword of the news, and then taking some pictures from other sources, and then they invent or maybe modify or edit this picture or photo and then use it for their fake news. Another, this is a good tool to use when you want to check it or verify it. Another thing is a thin eye. What is it? This is reversed. Sometimes the pictures are reversed, you know, change the position, like in mirror, reversed, and then you need to check. It is hard to check by Google if it is reversed, and then with this tool you can check it and see if this picture is faked or it has been used in different other events, etc., etc. Okay, these are the images are the one of the famous things in the fake news. So almost no fake news without image is being spread. That's why we have to know this tool to use in our I don't know, maybe daily life or whatever. It is very easy. You don't need to be a professional for this. You just need to know how it works. Also, there is a pointer.org. This website is a very nice website to check the text. You write down copy the text of the news. You write down it, and then you see whether this text is taken from other, because as I said, non very professional fake newsers are usually copy pasting the text from other news, I don't know, and then they use it in their fake news. And sometimes pointer is finding, not sometimes, but many times finding the real source of this text, and then you can understand that this is a fake news. Videos are also very famous for fabricating the fake news. I think a lot of fake news has a video behind. There are two main tools that usually are being used. These are YouTube Data Viewer. Amnesty International is standing behind of this tool. They invented it. So you just simply put the link of the YouTube link into this and then into this search field, and then you find out whether this video is in another YouTube channels, and then you see if, I don't know, check the date, for example, of the video. If this fake video is saying that yesterday something happened somewhere, and then you searched it and found it that this video has been published on YouTube 5 years ago, then it's obvious that this is a fake. Similarly, another thing is InVid. This is also a very useful tool to check the videos. Or maybe videos are being cut, you know, usually they don't copy whole the video, but fabricate only seconds or 5-6 seconds on the video, and then they edit it, merge a video, and then creating the completely new. And in this case, these tools can very easily verify the videos. I would like to speak this is Ukrainian one, stopfake.org. Usually our participants from Ukraine who take part in our projects, they are bringing this example as a good tool. That's why I'm using this as well. And also I searched and I found it's very interesting. So usually when there is a fake news, this organization, stopfake.org, they are doing a lot of great job. So they are checking, there is propaganda and disinformation, mainly the political one, and then they say either it is true or not. Has anyone used or know this stop fake org?
Так, Natalia has raised hand. Natalia uses, yes. Я хочу звернутися до наших студентів. Скажіть, будь ласка, а взагалі, от чесно, підніміть руку, хто взагалі колись за своє життя пробував перевірити якісь новини, інформацію, чи є топ-фейк? От чесно, просто підніміть руку, хто це колись пробував робити? Who tried to check information via different tools and instruments? How many reactions? 19, 20 students did. 20, 22, 24, yes. So could you please share your experience? What was it about? Why did you decide to check it? What was it news? You may use Ukrainian. Please just share your experience. How did you do that? Ivan, Yakiv, you may turn on microphone and speak out.
It was experience between Ukrainian news and Russian news, and I перевірив інформацію.
He checked information. За допомогою яких засобів? Як ви це зробили? How did you do that?
With help others news. For example, German news, Deutsche Welle, for example, or BBC too, and that's all.
So you just compared sources of information. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Who else, please? Who else? Masha.
It was news about Russia and Ukraine, and I checked. My dad helped me with this because he knows, I think, everything. So I asked my dad.
So your daddy's information was a source of information for you and as a tool for checking fake or true or false, yes?
Yes, my personal informator.
Your personal informator, thank you. Хто ще бажає з тих 25-6 рук, які піднімалися, можливо, українською, якийсь кейс, як ви перевіряли, що ви перевіряли, чому? No wishes? Okay, let's continue.
Thank you very much. So there are also Bezbrechni, this website, which also a very useful thing, and they are checking a lot of fakes and exposing mainly Russian propaganda. Thank you very much for your sharings. And I hope you will, who hasn't used this interesting website, you can check and use. Also, I think they have a tool where you can send the information and then they verify and check and answer to you whether it is fake or not. In Georgia, we have this kind of website, and then when there is a spread with some news, we can send them, and then we got a reply from them. This is true or not. Okay, now critical thinking. So as I said, there are two fields. In the online field, you can use these tools, but in the online field, there are no this kind of tools where you can check. So that's why we need this we need critical thinking for online, but with the offline, we need some critical thinking in order to 2 times important, because we don't have other tools to check. So I would like to say very shortly to speak about the definition to understand what the critical thinking is. It is an analysis of available facts, evidence, observations, and arguments to form a judgment. You know, facts, evidence, observation, and arguments. The subject is complex. Several different definitions exist, which generally include the rational, skeptical, and unbiased analysis or evaluation of factual evidence. So, critical thinking is the way that we need to have in order to not become a victim of the fake news, and to not act as the people who are spreading the fake news want us to act or to behave. Usually, it's all about questions. You know, when we are speaking about critical skills, it is a skills to ask questions. You know? When we have an information, for example, I don't know, Trump said this. What happened in Sweden? Did you see? Like he was spreading this news as everyone knows that something happened in Sweden. Then you have to put a question. Okay, stop. What happened? Why now he is saying this? Who is spreading this news? You know, who stands behind? For whom? Who is the aim, target audience? Where he is saying this? If you put these kind of questions as a filter to the information you are receiving, then let's imagine we draw some, I don't know, imagine person here with two ears, like information is coming from one ear, then in the middle of your brain, it has these questions before it comes out from your second ear. You know? Then if you filter the information through this question, after this filter, you will get most probably you will get the answer to these questions of what the information is, whether it is true or not. So the whole critical thinking is based on the question that I said. So that's why it is important to build resilience against the fake news by developing critical thinking. You can have a lot of tools, a lot of, I don't know, websites, but even these websites need to be checked, to be honest. Because I don't say you should be skeptical to everything, blah, 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 like crazy, don't believe to anyone, but you should develop this habit to asking questions to anything, whether this is true or not, and then to analyze why this happened to me, why I received this news, who said this, etc., etc. I started to speak about the school, about our usual life in the individual level. Let's leave this politics, let's leave this professional fake newsers, and then go into the daily life we are living in, like in the district, in the neighborhood, in the friendship. If you are attentive, you will listen a lot of stories about someone, right? You sit with your friend, you drinking tea, beer, or whatever, spending time on phone or chatting in the messenger or WhatsApp or whatever it is. Just take some minutes and remember how many fake news is, how many information you are getting every day from different people about others, you know. And when you realize that this huge data of information is coming to you, it is impossible that everything is true. So then you are being changed. I mean, someone is trying to change your behavior based on this information. If someone is saying, you know what happened yesterday, some friend, let's give the name, I don't know, Andrew did something and he said something towards you, like rumors, you know, and then you are like logically changing your attitude towards him, this Andrew. If it is your close friend or whoever, your classmate or student, you study together, etc. And may you ask why he is telling me this? How should I check it? Whether he is right or not, etc., etc. So what is the motive, aim? This is the main thing. If you understand the aim behind the fake news, then it is easy for you to ask questions. You know, if you get, okay, this is what is the motive? Why should he told me about this? Why should I being faked? What is the aim? Then it is clear, and the questions will always help you for critical thinking. I'm developing now a module in critical thinking, and model of training, and I hope next year I will implement this. And this is very important thing for youngsters to improve their critical thinking to have successful life. So for me, the antivirus, before having these tools, is the questions that we have to ask before receiving any information. And once we will have this habit and this competence developed, I think it will be easy for us to fight against the fake news, to have the resilience against the fake news, and become more successful and less troubles in our life. This is the end of my presentation. I think we have around 10 minutes time, right? Or no, how many minutes left? So then we can have some informal discussions about the fake news and critical thinking.
Okay, if you want, and if it is possible, we may have a break, for example, for about 10-15 minutes before the second lecture, the second session.
Second, about youth work.
Yes. Or
Okay.
we may just discuss this part, because, for example, I want to ask students and participants about critical thinking. You know, Slava, we had before some lectures about critical thinking, and we discussed it heavily, really. We have even debates on very vibrant topics such as gender equality and sorry, I forgot about one of them, but I would to ask my students and participants, would you do you consider yourself critical thinkers? Чи ви застосовуєте інструменти критичного мислення в вашому повсякденному житті? Чи вважаєте ви себе критичними мислителями, тими, хто фільтрує інформацію, перевіряє і замислюється над тим, що почує? Будь ласка, можете, давайте так провокативно, можете підняти руку, хто себе не вважає такими? Не вважає. Тобто, все ж таки ви себе вважаєте більш схильними до емоціонального сприйняття інформації. Підніміть руку, хто так сприймає інформацію. Вимикає критичне мислення і вмикає емоції, коли ми говоримо про інформацію. Slava, did you understand my question to participants? Who considers themselves not critical thinking? You see, not critical thinkers. We have 6 people. Okay, and the rest are good critical thinkers. Thank you very much. Okay, the next question to the audience. Could you please share your experience? Why do you consider critical thinking is important in nowadays and in your maybe professional work or study process or relationships with family? Could you please describe your experience? Okay, Sofia, your hand was the first.
Sofia?
Katerina.
Yeah, good day, everyone. I'm Katrina.
Hello.
And I'm studying the political science. I can tell a little story of my family, and it is a story where my critical thinking helped me because after the beginning of the war, on the 24th of February, there are a lot of fakes and a lot of fake news, and a lot of fake news about some how to say, about some money for different people, for like pensions, like something like this. And it is a real story of my family, when one member of my family decided to gain some profit of this, to send some documents to such a firm And one time I helped. It really was it was real like action, and we got money. It was great. But then the second time, if I haven't checked the resource that posted such a message, we could send all our documents to our to some Russian agencies or something like this, and it was really great fake. When we understood it, it wasn't too late, and we were really happy that it wasn't, because it would be a great problem for us, as for that person and for our family as well.
Great example. Thank you very much for sharing. There are other raised hands, right? Now I stop the sharing and I see everything that happens in the Teams.
Anastasia Faragovska, could you please share your ideas about critical thinking? Because I see your face in front of me in the central screen. So what do you think about importance of critical thinking in our life?
А можна українською?
Можна українською.
Дякую. Ну, я вважаю, що це дуже важливо. Тим паче, як казала Катерина, наразі є дуже багато фейків. Я думаю, про це вже багато казали. Але в мене не завжди воно спрацьовує. Я дуже емоційна людина, і іноді емоційність – це не так погано, проте потрібно вміти вмикати критичне мислення, коли воно потрібне, в дуже важливих для тебе ситуаціях, коли не можна підвергатися будь-якій паніці. Ось, тому я так вважаю. Але це складновато, і над цим треба працювати. Це таке собі.
Дякуємо вам за вашу думку. Хто ще бажає висловитися? Можливо, якісь просто коменти, можливо, просто інсайти, якийсь фідбек about lecture, about what you have heard.
So we have 1 minute left, huh?
Yes. 1 minute left. Okay, let's discuss our plan for the next session. Now, after 1 minute, we will have a small break, about 10-15 minutes, right? And at what time should we meet for the second lecture? Let it be 1 p.m. or 1 p.m. 10 minutes.
Let's meet in 1 to 10, in 20 minutes, okay?
In 20 minutes, so 13:10. 13:10. Okay, I will not break the connection in this meeting, so you may just turn off your cameras and microphones, and then in 1 p.m. 10 minutes we will return.
Thank you. See you later.